Outa CEO said the country was in a terrible situation. He spoke on Wednesday at the Constitutional Conference in Midrand. South Africa enters democracy for 30 years, but on Thursday, CEO of organization, which return tax abuse, finds a terrible situation, CEO of organization. On second day of Constitutional National Conference in Midrand, Duvenage, Gauteng spoke under theme of reflections and next way. The Duvenage was part of the panel and the fight against corruption discussed as a compulsory necessity. According to Duvenage, if scorpions distributed by the government are still operating, most of corruption that occurred and still took place would be prevented. However, the country finds itself worse in the fight against corruption. In 1999, the government founded the Special Operations Directorate, known as Scorpions, to investigate and prosecute lawsuits. The unit National Prosecutor's Office took part was called the Troika model, so that prosecutors worked with researchers and judicial experts to prosecute organized crime corruption. ReadBasic legal files containing the multimillion and storey cases of the lottery disappeared scorpions soon became famed because of the raids of senior politicians on their homes. In 2007, at conference, which chose Jacob Zuma as president, ANC suggested disintegration of scorpions and becoming part of South African police service. On Thursday, Duvenage said that if the scorpions were still around, South Africa would not be placed in Airways job rescue and people would not lose their jobs. He added that Denel would not be in the current state and that disaster e-authentication cannot be introduced. Unfortunately, the poor who suffer the most in these conditions. He said in his mind that today's hawks lack the activity or authority of moving, and as a result, too much corruption took place. Director the non-profit organization, said Hennie Van Vuuren, a part of panel, some state institutions should be made about lack activities, he said. If we fail in responsibilities, we will all fail, NPA and Hawks said. He referred first state capture case that seems to be on verge collapse of NPA and said that prosecution authorities would not even discuss why leaks Gupta, which are public property, should be accepted evidence. Authority, responsibility of the state officials, a 24.9 million nulane and money laundering case is to ensure successfully prosecution, so that Guptas can be taken into account, he said. If we can take into account Guptas, we can keep companies that calculate the state capture. What we see is a situation on their knees. Unfortunately, the NPA case fell.